2-2, and the clock shows 7 minutes and 52 seconds to play in this opening half. Texas A&M and Kansas sparring early here, and kind of few jabs, few body shots, but so far Texas A&M has held their own, and this crowd is loving it, John.
Yeah, the two freshman guard, Gilchrist and King, have handled themselves well. They've been patient on the offensive end. A&M excited in this building. Still have crowd.
Tomas Ress, youngster who lists his home as Hialeah of Florida. He is from Italy, and his folks are here to see this ball game tonight, and he's pumped. Hits his first two-pointer of the night. Boshi, he's going to be off the mark, and it's Aaron Jack who will clear for Texas A&M.
And Jack has had 3 big defensive rebounds. It's been 1 shot and out for the Jayhawks so far.
You see the trap on Hess. And a travel is called on Bernard King. Collison, Bradford, Chenoweth, Boshi, and Gregory against Ross Brown, Jack Gilchrist, and King for the Aggies.
A&M has been in a man-to-man defense since the start. They've been patient. They've allowed Gregory to take a look at outside. He hasn't taken any. Not a terrific outside shooter by any means. They want to defend Boshi up close.
Shot off the glass, Kenny Gregory with his first couple of the night.
And that is where he will beat you. The one thing you want to do with Gregory, if he gets that deep, you might as well tap him on the arm, pick up a foul. Make him go to the foul line, only a 36% free throw shooter.
Gilchrist wised up that time. He saw the trap coming. He got rid of it. Tomas Ress is off the mark on the three-pointer. King tried to draw the charge, and at the other end, they run the floor so very well. And getting the tip in, number 21, Nick Bradford, the senior out of Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Well, the senior and the captain coming off a ball game against Nebraska, 11 points, 10 assists. And you don't see many 3-men, the small forwards, getting 10 assists. He kind of does a little bit of everything for Roy Williams Ball Club.
Bernard King, they trap on him. Back to Gilchrist, the southpaw's 3 in and out, won't go. And here come the Jayhawks as Gregory takes it down.
Kansas, one of the best teams to convert defense to offense in the nation. They will get right on top of you.
Bradford feeds back to the middle, knocked out of bounds, touched last by Texas A&M, and we'll take a break. Kansas 6. Or Kansas, you saw the controversy in the game just prior to us. How about the game for the Aggies out on the South playing against Texas Tech on Saturday? This is the end of the ball game. The rebound and the putback. Charles Range, the official down at the bottom, says it was good, but look at slow motion and watch the red light. And now we will highlight it for you. Was the red light on? Yes, before the ball left his hand. No matter. Charles Range told Melvin Watkins that the shot was good. His team headed for the locker room, and again, a second time Watkins asked him, was the shot good? He says, yep, that's good for me. Took his team, went to the locker room, and they headed to the plane with a victory.
Happy in Aggie land, so to speak.
So, and the folks at Texas Tech obviously not very pleased about that, but it is in the books.
Well, the judgment call. The referee makes it. Ball game's over, although that one took about 40 minutes to clear up afterwards. But by that time, this Aggie team was out of the gym, on the bus, on the way home.
Boshi with his first 2 points just a moment ago. Good feed inside Brown. And there are 2 Browns. That was Gerald. Carlton, number 24, will also see him tonight.
Gerald Brown, now in his senior year, was Big 12 Freshman of the Year years ago, and has not really lived up to the billing after that season. Now is capable of putting some numbers on.
I looked over here for Gilchrist, and he had turned his back. Nice feed by Tomas Ress.
Well, right now, A&M is beating this Jayhawk team off the dribble, Ron, and then once they get inside, they've just handed it, and Brown's been able to lay a couple in.
Ooh, the Aggies wanted a call there as they thought Chenoweth should have been guilty of an offensive foul, but there will be none.
Again, Chenoweth with about 4 to 5 inch height advantage against Aaron Jack. Jack will fight it. 6'8", 240 pounds. Tried to probably take a charge that time. Might have flopped a little bit.
Well, that could be one of 2 people, either London or Boshi, with the foul as they squeezed him.
Eric Chenoweth on the block. Aaron Jack. Officials probably thought not solid enough contact. And then off the dribble, Jamal Gilchrist, a young freshman, twice has now been able to beat Jeff Boshi to the basket. That time the foul. Gilchrist called upon to run the show for his ball club.
At the line for the Aggies, Andy Lumberman shooting 2.
Boshi with his first Team foul number 2 on KU.
And they bring in Andy Leatherman to shoot free throws. Gilchrist has gone out.
Here's a point. Now, Gilchrist goes out. Leatherman is the man who replaces him at the point. John Leatherman had his knee scoped just not too long ago. He is not 100% healthy. They're going to try to get as much mileage out of him as they can. But the one thing the coaches are worried about is that Gilchrist might become a little fatigued tonight because of all the pressure that Kansas, and particularly Boshi, will put on you.
Well, you see the young man there nursing an injury. It is 20th birthday today. Speaking of big birthdays in the Big 12, on Saturday afternoon, Oklahoma State, Doug Gottlieb had a pretty nice afternoon, 13 points. And then up in Missouri, Clarence Gilbert on his 20th birthday had 25 points. So Jamal Gilchrist wants to get back in this game.
Almost stolen by Leatherman. They battle for it, and the Aggies have it, and they have numbers.
Ron, the emotion in this building is really something special for this Aggie team right now.
Aggies out on top by a couple. Bochi feeds it, stolen away, and here come the Aggies again. Bernard King, showtime.
Look at Leatherman all over that basketball.
That's going to be Aaron Jack in the middle. Bill Kennedy makes the call. You know, one of the things that John Thornton told me prior to the ballgame, John, a former player and coach here at Texas A&M, does the color on the broadcast. He said, we play worse against teams that bang, like Texas and Oklahoma. A finesse team is a better situation for A&M.
Well, that's a good point. Kansas, not a big physical team. They are tall, but they are fast and quick. They will come at you by numbers. What Melvin Watkins told his team today at shoot-around, we have to handle the pressure. You'll get good shots if you just don't turn the ball over.
Heinrich in the ball game, number 10 for Kansas. Turnaround jumper, nice. Well, Nick Cottleson, the freshman out of Iowa Falls, Iowa, averaging almost 10 points a ball game, and he has a sweet stroke.
Solid in his last 2 conference games. Kansas State 13, Nebraska 13. 10 of his last 16 field goals he has made.
Aaron Jack, and again, that could have been any one of 2. Jeff Carey was there. Luke Axtell was there. Carey will pick up the foul. 3rd team foul on the first on, 2nd on Carey. 1st on him, 3rd team foul on KU.
You see the frustration on Roy Williams' face. Right now, A&M is getting the basketball in the paint area. They've been able to ball fake, get there off the dribble, and once there, the pump fakes, drawing contact and fouls. That man not happy with his performance of his team right now.
Well, one thing happened for the Aggies. Now, they struggled, and I mean struggled mightily at the beginning of the year. And I asked Melvin Watkins today, John, you were in the room. I said, how frustrated were you becoming as well? And he said, very. We had a team session. And I asked them about their frustrations, and I told them about mine. And he said, I think airing the waters, clearing the air just before the Tech game, then the victory really helped us.
And he took some of the blame and put it on his own shoulders. He wanted his young players to hang in there and stay with some game. They got the big win, and you can just tell by the emotion tonight they're in this ball game early.
Luke Axtell cans the 3-pointer, tied at 15 now.
Axtell has been looking for his shot all season, and it's been kind of hot and cold. Is a streaky shooter.
King, the left-hander, way off the mark, and that's going to be a reach over the top by 44 Andy Slocum.
Well, Luke Axtell is a shooter from the state of Texas, so back in his homeland. Outside of Austin, he's from Austin.
Westlake.
If he shoots it, if he knocks 1 or 2 in, Ron, he can roll 5 or 6 in a row in a hurry.
Yep.
6'10", there's not many that can challenge a jump shot outside of him.
That does give you a little mismatch out on the perimeter, doesn't it, John?
Doesn't play inside very much, though.
No,
rarely you see him in the paint.
Good job by Bernard King. We're going to stay with Texas A&M as Scott Thornley and Bill Kennedy stood there and eyed one another, wanting to know who had touched it last.
Well, Bernard King, the highly talked about freshman, leads his team in scoring in about 17 a ball game. Has started slowly tonight, 1 of 3, but has kind of forced the issue so far early, trying to do too much.
2 of those threes were way off the mark.
And that right there was a forced pass. Didn't get it to his teammate on the outside hand, threw it inside his offensive player teammate, and the defense knocked it away, knocked it in the body, turnover.
I'm sure one of the things that Melvin would tell this young team is you don't get a lot of chances against KU. When you do, take advantage.
Exactly right.
Axtell not there. Tip back to Axtell on the whistle, and that's going to be a push on Luke Axtell.
Well, the crowd welcomes Luke a little bit.
Well, they saw him in a Texas uniform, and to them, he will always wear burnt orange and white, John. You need to
Exactly right.
He's not wearing blue right now. He's the only one out there in burnt orange and white. There's another force of the situation, but the Aggies come away with an okay situation and then miss the shot as Carey grabs the rebound.
Yeah, Carlton Brown had one again. You have to convert open opportunities against this Kansas team because they are too good and they will score on top of it. You know, big difference, Ron. Kansas leads the league in scoring, 86 points a ball game. A&M is 12th out of the 12 teams at 66. So really it's about tempo, it's about control, it's about getting good shots in this ball game.
Heinrich Walk had the ball tipped and will take a break. 11:32 left until halftime to 15. Kansas is leading this one by a couple, but you got to understand one thing. I think that the boys in blue and Roy Williams as well are in a little bit of a state of shock because these A&M kids are anticipating well on defense, grabbing the basketball, John.
Well, Melvin Watkins wanted to make sure that they came out and stayed with Kansas early. Now, the second part was they can't play 20 minutes. They can't play 30. They know they have to play 40 minutes. And Kansas will keep coming at you. I don't think Roy Williams can be happy so far. They've got 5 turnovers and really ill-advised turnovers, silly mistakes. Last time down, Heinrich, the freshman, simply jumped up, didn't even have a pass, came down with the basketball. Bosch's had a couple turnovers. Pressure and nobody to help out his teammate, Leatherman.
Leatherman, by the way, came into the ballgame early. We just got a report that Gilchrist, the reason he went out on that foul a while ago, somebody came down on his head with an elbow, and it's not going to require stitches, but he has a cut, which are taken care of.
He will be back in the lineup shortly.
Tomas Rest trying to get away from that one. Melvin Watkins stands up, puts a palm down, and says, calm down.
Well, here's the guy that runs their show. Has struggled with turnovers early, but against Texas Tech, 8 points, 5 assists, no turnovers. They slowed the game down. They tried to simplify some things for the freshman.
Here comes the trap. Carlton Brown gets caught in it, picks up the dribble, and gets it back to Letterman. Behind the back to Rest, and he got it.
Well, it worked. He went behind the back. I wasn't sure if he got the right teammate or not.
We're tied.
They have stayed straight man-to-man. They said they would mix defenses up.
Axtell. Kansas prepares to bring 4 new bodies into the ballgame. Wide open for a 3. Count it, Larry Scott. And I'm telling you, this place is going wild. Axtell at the other end. Well, that's a way to quiet a crowd.
You know, Luke grew up in Austin, Ron, and you understand this. He probably doesn't have a lot of love for the Aggie fans either. So he's taken one off the dribble, tried to score. That time just fired it in from deep. Once the pressure is broken, you will have numbers. And this one goes to the corner. A jump shot by Ress. Nothing but net. And then Kansas scrambling back defensively. Another freshman we haven't talked about, Larry Scott, has been terrific this year. Has struggled with his outside shooting the last couple ball games, but 38% from the three-point line. He's the one they want to get open.
Here's a difficult thing. Axtell comes into the ball game, lights a fire under him, gets 6 quick points, and all of a sudden he's right back on the bench. Now that's one of the difficult things for a scorer in Roy's system.
Well, and you got to understand, Luke Axtell came from Tom Pender's system, where Luke played, and he might get 25 looks a game. And the adjustment is your looks now become not so many, and they probably have to be higher quality.
Ball knocked away right here in front of us. Gilchrist unable to save it. That is about 5 times tonight that the Aggies have either stolen or anticipated and knocked a pass away from KU, and it's the first pass down in the sequence.
Yeah, their quickness of their feet and their hands really good tonight.
Gooden with the turnaround, the reversal, an air ball, and that's going to come off Chenoweth. Ball goes to Texas A&M.
Well, we're going to talk about a lot of freshmen in this ball game, and Drew Gooden has been outstanding for Roy Williams Ball Club. Most valuable player, most outstanding player in the Great Alaska Shootout. Had 20 points in that championship game against Georgia Tech. Over 11 points and almost 8 rebounds a ball game. Cannot pick up your dribble or it's trouble against this team in blue.
That's a great point, Sean.
Now, the thing about Kansas, when they guard you, Ron, and you go to a baseline and you pick up the dribble, it's as if they have 7 or 8 defenders out there because they recover and they trap, and you don't find teammates unless teammates become available.
That's true. Bochy with his second. 17 fouls against Kansas.
And Jeff off to a tough start. One of the premier guards in the Big 12. Bochy, an outstanding shooter, has had only 2 looks. Hit the first one. But he's had a couple turnovers, now a couple fouls.
Gilchrist, who was a 78% free throw shooter, gets the first one.
Well, made his presence known right off the bat when he came. First ball game, 21 points against North Carolina A&T. In the starting lineup that first ball game.
No shot. Gerald Brown, number 52, in the lane too quickly. He was trying to make sure that Chenoweth didn't get an inside position on him.
Well, this is frustrating as a shooter if your teammate steps in there. Now, he missed a free throw, but you never want to go too early.
Gregory, they clog up the middle, and he's no good on the shot. And the follow, that's Gooden.
Well, one of the better offensive rebounders in Big 12 basketball, and only a freshman. Very aggressive, attacking the rim.
Richmond, California, El Cerrito High School.
Bernard King has been quiet so far.
Good bounce pass inside, another behind the back, and that doesn't pay a lot of dividends against a defense like Kansas.
Yeah.
Blocked by Chenoweth, gives it over to Bochy. Gregory at the other end.
And Kansas has picked up the tempo a notch, Ron. They took that ball from the defensive end, the offensive end. There were 3 blue jerseys inside position against this Aggie defense on the offensive board. Take a look defensively. Chenoweth with the nice block, and then Bochy on the watch on the pickup. Simply looks up, hits it ahead, and now they have numbers. And they attack the offensive glass. They'll have another opportunity.
Heinrich tries to penetrate. Bradford just inside the 3-point line, and the lefty off the mark. The follow by Gregory, no good. Chenoweth with the tip, no good. And now the Aggies break out 4-on-1.
Well, has to convert.
Bradford at the other end. Saved by Gooden. Jump ball. And possession arrow says Kansas.
Well, you come down 3-on-1 break, you miss a layup. Kansas goes the other way. And fortunately for the Aggies, they miss a layup. Bradford misses one here, and then here's our freshman again. Drew Gooden just attacking the glass. Ball caught on his way up, so they'll maintain possession.
You know, John, we were laughing as we left the shoot-arounds today and drove back to the hotel. Everybody likes to talk about the youth of Texas A&M, and they are with 3 freshmen in the starting 5. But guess what? The bad news is Kansas is just about as young.
Yeah, you talk about Gooden, Collison, and Heinrich, all freshmen. Bochy's only a sophomore. That guy with the ball right there, Gregory, before he gave it up, only a junior, so Chenoweth a junior.
Lester Earl in his 5th game of the year. Had to have knee surgery again. Scoped to try to clean things out in December, and he just has not been able to play a lot. He is in the ball game right now.
And Lester got to play about 10 minutes the last time out against Nebraska, but had 7 games in a row where he didn't play because of the knee. Still will give you moments of what he used to have inside that body, the explosiveness.
Gooden, reversal, and knocks it down.
Tough inside, and how patient he was, even though there were double teams, guys and arms flying around him.
Collison and Gooden both have such good strokes. Big Monday presented by Bud Light. Tonight we're coming to you from Reed Arena on the campus of Texas A&M University. Kansas with a 3-point lead, and that's going to be a push foul on the floor. That's the 8th team foul against Kansas. They went into the 1-1 about 2.5 minutes ago. That's as early as I remember Kansas given the opposition 1-1 that early in a while.
Well, good offensive strategy by A&M. They've kept the spacing pretty good. They've got good ball handlers. Kansas obviously likes to get chest to chest with you defensively. And the ball handling ability of each of the Aggies to beat the defensive player off the dribble has really caused a lot of bumping and shoving, grabbing and holding, so more fouls against this Kansas team early.
Leatherman, a 71% free throw shooter, has 2 points on the night. Both of them came from the free throw line.
Well, they're arguing if Leatherman was the guy who had the ball getting fouled. And good point by the Kansas team. I think Nick Bradford was the first one to step up, the senior captain.
So Roy Williams, for the first time in his coaching career, gets welcomed to sit-down bus driver by the Texas A&M fans, called for by the Yell leaders here at Aggieland.
Carlton Brown on the free throw line, 22 points against Texas Tech. Junior college transfer at Temple Junior College.
66% from the line. Shoots three-pointers as he misses that one badly. By 41% from beyond the arc, and they get it back.
You know, started the season well, then went to a slump, but has played well lately in the Texas Tech game. 22 points. You know, he averaged 23 in junior college, so he knows how to put the ball in the hole.
Off the mark, Collison comes down with the rebound for Kansas. Bradford inside to Earl, not there, and followed by Gregory.
Came from right up top if you don't put a body on it. This guy plays above the rim.
Tried to trap early. Aggies soft it. Stolen by Nick Bradford. Stepped out of bounds. Let's take a break. 26-22 Kansas. We'll be right back. Indiana. That's the first game of the night, followed by Tennessee at Florida.
That should be a warm embrace from the crowd, though. I would think.
Yeah,
the young man
got to have a lot of respect for Steve.
Yes,
the job he's done.
His Iowa team has been struggling ever since the win. Hopes probably got a little too high after the win against UConn to start the season.
Jacks got a man open inside to give, and it's Carlton Brown.
Exactly what Melvin Watkins said this afternoon. If you can handle the pressure early in the double teams and you throw over the top of it, we'll get good shots. We just have to convert.
Kansas prepares to send 4 fresh players in the ballgame. Collison dished it off to Gregory. Nice assist.
And Collison has such a nice presence about where he is on the floor most of the time.
(28-24) Kansas, and again picked up his dribble in the corner, and they save it for the moment. No rush. That's an offensive foul. He had 15 seconds on the shot clock, and those are the kind of errors, John, that all of a sudden a 4-point ball game turns to a 6, 8 to 10 before you know it.
And that's what Kansas does to you, Ron. They pick the pace up defensively. They scramble, they hustle, they react. One of the better teams in the country at help side defense. They don't just play their man. They understand where the ball is. The rotation is always good. They may get beat a couple times and a couple of shots, but the thing is they keep that pace and it's relentless. And most of these players on the A&M squad have not seen that yet.
No.
They've played other teams that are good defensively, but more in the half-court set.
Axtell.
When in doubt, Luka had nowhere to go, but he does understand where the rim is. I mean, he has an idea that they hang that thing 10 feet from the ground.
Like Will Rogers. He never saw a three-pointer that he didn't like.
And sometimes not a bad play.
No,
Luke was trapped and he had no teammates, so you get it on the rim, you might have a chance. He almost made it.
Back to London and can't get it, and right there is Gooden. Nothing doing. Chenoweth battles inside, and he'll bring it back to Bochy for 3.
Well, this Kansas team continues to battle. Melvin Watkins not happy with that call, but when you take a look at the rebounding, Ron, the fact is that the Aggies are pushed so far underneath that rim that Kansas's height advantage is just touching too many rebounds on the offensive end.
Well, they just called a foul on Bernard King. Well, in the game summary field goals, you see the numbers. A&M not nearly as many shots, about half. Free throws, they lead there, but it rebounds 19-10 in favor of the Jayhawks.
Well, a big edge, and you would expect that. But Texas A&M have to do a better job of blocking this Kansas team out.
Gooden, hand right in his face, couldn't get it to go. It's a nice job by Carlton Brown to block him out and come away with the carry.
Well, two things. Solid defense, then he made the block out on the rebound. So
King working against Axtell. That's not there, and not a very high percentage shot. And again, King continues to force the action.
Well, the King is 6'3". Luke is 6'10". They are guarding each other on both ends, and I don't think Bernard King wants to take it against Luke inside. Bring him away from the basket, may beat him off the dribble, but don't take it right to him when he's in the paint.
Bill Kennedy says that Slocum is guilty of a push, so Slocum's going to have to come to the bench. 2 personal fouls on him. Gerald Brown, number 52, a 6'7" senior from Houston, will come into the lineup.
And you see the name Slocum? They don't think a relation of RC, but they don't know. Same territory in Louisiana they're from. And as they would say, there's not a lot of those around. So
Slocum stayed in the ball game, and he just picked up his 3rd foul. Well, Jacks was getting ready to come in for him, Aaron Jack, and they didn't get him in quickly enough. Now Slocum's going to have to sit down for the rest of the half.
Well, you'll take a look. The back screen effectively run by Kansas all the time. I mean, they set a lot of screens in their motion offense and recognize where the man is, where the ball is. He got caught. He knew the ball was coming.
Team foul number 7 against Texas A&M as Chenoweth misses, and the tip. Gooden sneaks inside and knocks it in.
And how quickly Gooden can step in that lane and the quick reach over the top.
Bernard King.
King pretty good off the dribble. Again, last 4 ball games, over 19 a game. Good pass.
Brown, Gerald Brown. Back to a 4-point game, 30-26, Kansas. Almost stolen by refs. And Axtell lost it and got it back to Chenoweth. The quick hands of Gerald Brown caused the turnover. Tomas Resch.
Well, how about the pace? Up and down, back and forth. See some tired bodies.
Kansas is getting ready to put 4 more fresh bodies in the ball game, so they can afford to go at this rate.
Well, A&M likes to push it, but they've got to be more controlled against a team that's going to play 10, 11 bodies. They keep rotating them in.
You know, you make a really good point, John, on what Kansas defense does, because I'll bet you on the last 5 trips, if you went back and looked at what they have at the scorer's table, how quickly A&M shot with at least 15 seconds on the clock, sometimes 20, just you're wasting time where you can work your offense, and also a little time where you can take a breather while you're setting up your offense.
They scramble your offense a little bit. They make you hurry up, and you'll get open looks that maybe shouldn't be the shot you take, but you're open, you take it anyway. And a guy like Bernard King has struggled. Finally, he got an open one, maybe a little bit too early, and Axtell running at him, but he thought, well, I better get a shot up. I haven't had a few.
Bernard is 1 of 6 from the field. 32-26, KU. Texas A&M trailing 3.5 minutes till halftime.
Well, the things you want to watch in the paint is how deep this Kansas team gets and how close to the rim they are. Every time down, they've got great low post position. They sneak inside. They attack the glass. If you don't put a body on them away from the action, you're going to be in trouble.
Good look right there. As you can see, Drew Gooden slipped inside of Aaron Jack. Came all the way across the lane and got the tip.
Well, quick foul on the inbounds play, and back to the free throw line. This Aggie team goes.
Heinrich with his second foul. 19 foul against KU.
A&M already 5 of 7 from the foul line tonight. King still trying to find a way to get a ball down. Young freshman is struggling, but he's got to hang in. They need his scoring. They need his production.
This is Jack going against Collison. Tomas Ress, the crowd wanted a foul there. And Jack, nothing to do it. Here's Heinrich. Boy, Gregory gets out quickly on the wing.
And Heinrich missed him early. Had a chance for Gregory, and he usually makes an exclamation point when he gets it on the other end.
King causes the turnover. And he's going to put up the three-pointer and still off. 1 of 7 now.
Every shot so far, Ron, for Bernard King has been a little bit long. I think the excitement of the game, the excitement of the atmosphere. Even the free throw hit back iron.
2.5 minutes to play until intermission. Chenoweth.
Well, smart move by Eric. Patient. Once he caught it, he has a size advantage over all the defenders in the A&M squad. So he didn't worry too much about what was going on around him.
John, this time the A&M team a little bit slower coming down after that hoop. They're a little winded because of the numbers and the pace of the ball game. I don't think there's any question.
They need a good possession right here. Execute offensively, set good solid screens. A lot of times when you're tired, your screening becomes very sloppy. Pick up some offensive fouls.
Shot clock is at 7. Now it's at 6. 4 down to 3. 3-pointer on the way, and that did it draw iron? It did not. That's what Scott Thornley is saying. Did not touch iron. So that's a shot clock violation. We're coming up on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. It'll be Chris Fowler and Digger Phelps. Buzz beater controversy.
We've had a
Saturday. Yeah, the one again tonight. Miami and Villanova, of course, the one they're talking about. Tech and A&M, they'll talk about that one. And Steve Alford goes back home to Hoosierland to play against Bobby Knight and Indiana tomorrow evening. That and more coming up on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime.
Zone defense 3-2 now by A&M. They got caught looking at each other, trying to make sure everybody was organized, and by that time, Collison was knocking one in from about 8 feet.
John, this is just what I'm talking about. A couple of careless trips down the floor. All of a sudden, it's a 10-point ball game, and you better put a finger in the dike here, or you're going to be down big time at halftime.
Well, traditionally, under Roy Williams, his ball clubs go on runs. Everybody knows the spurts, and you want to guard against them. It's just difficult during a game time to guard against them. You have to make shots, and now Bernard King getting fouled has to make free throw. Has to step up there and knock a couple in. How about that one there?
This is what we're talking about. 9 players averaging 15 minutes per ball game.
And the surprise, you've got your center averaging the most minutes. Eric Chenoweth at 24 a ball game. Continue to throw fresh bodies. Another ball that hit the back of the rim first and rattled in and out for Bernard King.
And we all know this. When you a little fatigue sets in, one of the first places it affects you is at the free throw line.
Well, this is all about concentration. Off to a tough start. This is Mr. Louisiana out of Gibson, Louisiana. Coleman High School. Has made an impact. Last 8 ball games, 19 points a game. Had 31 against Lamar. 18 against Oklahoma, 19 against Texas. Terrific looking freshman. Now he's got to find a way to get the ball through that net.
Interesting that Chenoweth came back in, but also Roy put in his gunner. Axtell is back in the lineup. He would dearly love to have at least a 3-pointer before they head to the locker room. This is London, and he'll finger roll it. Just the lane was left open.
Well, London is so smooth. Kind of nonchalant you to sleep at time, and then he will explode by you. Does everything in an easy pace, but very effective.
11-point margin. Under 45 seconds to play until halftime.
Good double team.
Gilchrist, nice job. And Jack will jam it home.
Caused by good ball movement, Ron. Gilchrist gave up the ball and went away, but he had to come back and get it, and then they swung the ball, and it was a pretty good play.
Give him a target. We T-shirt coming your way.
Not a problem. I just, in a situation like that, I'll just always stop talking and let you have it.
All right, have it.
Still 38-29.
Just past the rectory and up some cold gray stairs is the best place on earth to buy electronics, videos, books, even your favorite country music. It's Sister Maria's room. Because Sister Maria has two very important things: access to Amazon.com, the best site for finding whatever you have a passion for, and Visa, the online currency. A great way to buy Hank Williams' 40 greatest hits, and of course, something to play it on. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Well, we were, then we weren't, then we were, and now here we are back at Reed Arena. 26.1 seconds left until intermission. It's Kansas 38-29, and Roy Williams called a timeout to make sure that this is a good final possession of the first half.
Yeah, and you know something will come out of this timeout. Play drawn. Shot clock will go all the way off, and game clock, you get the last shot of the half. Solid start by A&M, but they have not been able to stay with it. Have to make enough baskets, and they only have 8 turnovers. I mean, they've done that well, but have to continue to try to rebound. They've been out rebounded by a bunch, 25-13.
Well, Big Monday continues, presented by Bud Light, UNLV, the Running Rebels in Albuquerque against the New Mexico Lobos. At around midnight tonight here on ESPN.
And good perimeter shooters. Their two best, Axtell and Boschia. Let Heinrich handle the basketball.
Under 10 seconds.
Good defense.
Oh, that is a great job. The ball is blocked. Collison picks it up. Not there. Axtell misses the tip. And we are at halftime.
Good solid defense by Jamal Gilchrist.
So at halftime, it is Kansas 38 and Texas A&M 29. Now let's send it to Chris Fowler and Digger Phelps with the Courtyard.
Exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball presented by Bud Light is brought to you by Courtyard by Marriott, the hotel designed by business travelers.
38-29. It's Kansas leading as we head into the second half. And John, short and simple, because of numbers, can A&M stay with Kansas?
Well, to stay with them, Ron, you have to make shots. 1 of 9 3-point line. They gave up 12 offensive rebounds. You can't do that and win against Kansas. But, you know, they started well. They got the crowd in here early. The crowds loved it. It's been as exciting as they've ever had it in A&M for a long time.
The numbers, 45% KU, 41 A&M. Free throw line, the Aggies 60%. They have been many more times, but look at the boards. Not just rebounds, but an offensive rebound.
That's the key. I mean, Drew Gooden came in and really pounded the glass and knocked the ball around for a few times, had 4 offensive rebounds, and he got them started.
Axtell, the leading scorer with 8. Brown with 6 for Texas A&M. Largest lead, 10 points by Kansas, 36-26. And actually the largest run by either club, 6 points.
And we'll see if Bernard King can get on track. Tough first half. 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 5 from beyond the 3-point line.
It's going to be a foul on Bradford. Time to add one other note about the first half. We talked how many people Kansas has played. 11 players. They have 9 that have played 7 minutes or more in the first half.
I think Melvin Watkins has to be pleased in a way that his young freshman guards, and we thought, you know, they're going to have a tough time with Kansas pressure. Only 8 turnovers total by his team. I think they've been patient. They've done a nice job. Good ball movement. They just haven't made some open shots when they've had it.
Gerald Brown.
Well, good start. I was going to say, when you put it on the floor against this Jayhawk team, expect another body to come at you.
Gerald Brown, 4 of 6, 8 points. Bochy. Bradford hustles for the rebound, and gentlemen, I beg your pardon, Collison goes on the floor, and underneath is Gregory.
Little no-look bounce pass from Boshi. Ron Gregory has a flair of how to finish, doesn't he?
Boy, in transition and how to finish, and that's Gregory called for the foul. And what's so amazing, with all that game and everything he can do, the free throw line is just...
Well, there's a save by Nick Bradford, and then Nick Collison goes after the ball, and Boshi no-look pass, and another spectacular finish. You'll see it a lot if you watch Kansas basketball.
Well, Bernard King.
They'll give him a little bit degree of difficulty on that one. He's missed some open ones. That was tough.
Bernard is now 2 of 8. He's got 5 points. Gerald Brown, his first. Team's first.
And here's the hoop by the freshman. Solid defense by Gregory. The high arcer, and that gets the young freshman started right for the second half.
Boshi left open for 3. He almost got the roll on that, but tipped back up and knocked in by Jack.
And they'll give it to the closest body, and that could be Chenoweth.
Chenoweth, you're
Jack
right.
just simply knocked that back in.
Nodded over and back as Boshi knocked it out of his hand.
Ooh, that was close, huh?
Yeah. Had to have long toes to do that. King. Well, now if he heats up, then we got a little different situation in the second half.
And neither basket has been easy yet. I mean, that was tough, too. Gregory right in his face once again. Good defense.
Off Gregory. Caused by King.
Exactly what you want by Melvin Watkins and his ball club. They've started well the second half, and this crowd is right into it again.
Gregory comes out quickly. Tomas Ress. Ooh, the crowd wanted a foul on Nick Bradford, and I'm not so sure they weren't right.
Looked like a lot of arm from this angle.
Here come the Aggies running. They got numbers 3 on 2. King from the corner. Jack tips it back out, but here's Collison, and now KU has numbers. Gregory.
Well, how about the catch? Bradford, the senior, likes to run, likes to push it. The pass a little high, but Kenny Gregory with the good hands, and then the finish. Pass a little up in the air. The one-hand snag, the contact, the foul.
Heinrich in for Bochi.
Kenny Gregory will go to the free throw line where 36%. It's a place he is not very comfortable with.
Gerald Brown goes to the bench. Leatherman comes in. Jamal Gilchrist will get a breather. And I'll tell you, he's really tired. Gregory completes the three-point play.
It's a tough part right there, Ron, going full court. Leatherman goes all the way. Doesn't get really in the paint, but he goes from one end to the other. It's got one guy chasing him, one guy cutting him off. All of a sudden, you have 3 defenders around you. Hard to make a play.
By the way, I meant to mention Gregory, the first man to double figures tonight. He's got 11. Tomas Ress.
Soft touch for another freshman.
Collison did a great job of going back and just catching that ball. Collison was almost past it when the ball came back to him.
And how quickly they get back on top of your defense. Took them about 4 or 5 seconds to score.
47-39. Kansas on top. Heinrich called for the foul. It'll be his third.
The tempo still favors Kansas so run.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets hectic offensively for A&M at times, and that favors Plays right into the hands of this Kansas team.
A&M has gotten the benefit of a couple of three-pointers early here. Collison goes out. Gregory goes out. And that means that 24 Marlon London checks into the lineup, as does Drew Gooden, number 0. Bernard King. Oh, that's an air ball. They went right to Jack. And he has it stolen by Bradford. Heinrich for 3.
Well, the inside position, they're going to give that ball to A&M, but inside, Drew Gooden. Young man runs the floor. The freshman always seems to have inside position. That's why he's the second leading offensive rebounder in the conference.
London working against King. Gets knocked down, and here comes KU. And Tomas Ress fouled him on the floor before he could get the shot away.
That's a good foul because Kansas has numbers, and if Nick Bradford simply makes a pass earlier, he's got a layup. KU by 8.
47-39, Kansas leads it. And a reminder, Wednesday night ACC doubleheader on ESPN beginning at 7 o'clock. NC State takes on number 6 Duke, 13-2. And after starting 0-2, the Blue Devils have won 13 straight. At 9 o'clock Eastern, Wake Forest 11-5 against Maryland, also 11-5. Wednesday doubleheader on ESPN. Ron Franklin, John Sunbull, good to have you along here from College Station, Texas. Reed Arena. Big Monday brought to you by Bud Light.
Axtell and Boschee in the lineup. So the bomb squad is in.
There's Gooden. Air ball. And here comes Jamal Gilchrist. Lefty's going to put up a 3. Not a smart shot. Melvin Watkins up and shaking his head like, no. Let's make a few passes.
Yeah, and Melvin, a great point guard. North Carolina Charlotte went to a Final Four in '77 with Cedric Cornbread Maxwell. So Melvin understands good shots, bad shots, tempo, all those kind of things.
Gilchrist got the message from his head coach. He had a break and he pulled up. That's going to be a foul on Gooden. He was trying to get back to his feet and banged him with his head. Well, look at this breakdown. 7 freshmen, 1 sophomore, 1 junior, and 3 seniors. And the freshmen, 61% of the team scoring, John.
Well, they're playing, and this guy's going to rebuild his program from the bottom up, and I think he'll get the job done. Outstanding career we mentioned as a player and as a coach at North Carolina Charlotte. Twice went to the second round in his 2 years into the NCAA tournament. The last time was beaten in overtime by North Carolina Chapel Hill, as they would like to say from the Charlotte side.
All right, we're going to stay here. It's 47-39, and Thursday night it's a triple header on ESPN. First of all, for the Big Ten, Michigan State, number 10, at 15, Ohio State. Followed at 9 o'clock by number 22, DePaul at Louisville. And at midnight, it's New Mexico State against Long Beach State. The Thursday triple header on ESPN.
Michigan State now a little bit different team with Mr. Cleaves back in the lineup. The speed of the game has changed for that ball club.
Yeah. You know, they had some younger players that got some great experience while he was on the bench with that injury.
That's fun to watch him play. His energy and enthusiasm is contagious with his teammates and the fans.
Brown reverses it. That's another air ball. And that's twice in the last 90 seconds that the Aggies from the corner have put up air balls. Axtell, that's about a 28-footer. Follows it, fouled on the way to the hoop, and that may be Ress.
You know, watching Luke tonight, he seems to have a little more energy to his game. Not that he's ever lacked any, but I'm sure back in the state of Texas, he feels like he wants to show something. And the miss, you know, good shooters know when they miss it right away. Ron, he was chasing that thing right when he landed. Defense sometimes doesn't know it, and he was chasing that thing down.
Swishes that one home.
71% free throw shooter. He should be better because he's a good shooter. It's usually a lack of concentration. He should step to that line. That young man shoot about 84% for the year.
He misses the second one, but look who's there, Gooden, and he's called for travel.
Yeah, how many times do we call his name on offensive rebounds?
Exactly, and particularly off free throws, John. He's sneaked across the lane and got a reversal in the first half, and almost, when he got the rebound there, he'll get credit for that and then a travel.
And most offensive rebounders, A, either have great position, or B, can read shots in midair. I mean, can follow the balls, the flights, know their teammates' shots. Zone defense now by Kansas. To make sure you have ball movement, body movement, get open shots.
Slocum,
good block out by Boshi.
Can promise you the head coach is not happy with that, with his 6'10" lad shooting one from 20 feet.
Change defense on the miss, go back to man-to-man, and you are exactly right.
Look at Melvin. I mean, he came out toward number 44, Slocum, and I don't think you'll see Andy shooting from 19 or 20 feet anymore. Not in that situation.
Well, the coaches poll the top 10, and number 5, undefeated Syracuse, the only undefeated squad up there. And
next week
home cooking so far. They've had some pretty good home schedule, but they're pretty good.
On Big Monday, they play number 7 UConn.
Where's that game?
It is at Syracuse, I believe.
They're back there again. Outstanding team. Boy, then those 10 teams, you line them up, and a lot of pretty even ball clubs in this country. I think Cincinnati, when they are on their game, boy, are they tough. Kenyon Martin is having as good a year as we've seen a long time in college basketball. Dominating at his position. Pete Michaels is yeah, they're just solid. The guard play, Satterfield is coming in off the bench.
I love him now. He is a great looking freshman.
Difference this year is they can knock in some jump shots.
Now I think look for Slocum as a three-pointer on the way. Missed. Gooden loses it, and here come the Aggies. The long pass, he threw it away. Threw it right to Collison. Blocked by Scott.
Now Melvin Watkins is trying to get his young ball club to just slow down just a little bit. We're having opportunities. Kansas is either throwing away or missing shots, and
3 straight trips.
3 straight possessions. A&M doesn't get a shot.
Actually 4 when you consider the fact that Slocum took the three-pointer out there, and that's almost a no prayer.
Well, and Melvin Watkins he brings 3 guys in, rest 3. You're down 9. You have 4 straight possessions to cut it, and you don't, and that's a tough thing against the 8th-ranked team in the country. Last 3 possession, the offensive board, Gooden has touched it 3 times. He's not been able to get a hold of it, but he has touched it.
Jack with a rebound, and that one actually, that's the worst one that Luke has put up. He was way off on that.
Suppose it'll bother him? I was just checking.
And that's the great thing about it.
I love watching him play.
He's going to come right back and put up another one and probably can it from 23. Jack battling. Brown couldn't get Peasley up to go. 12.5 minutes left in the ball game. 48-39 Kansas.
Oh, that's a tough shot.
Gooden again.
Flash in the post. Good pass by Axtell. Teammate gets open. Give him the basketball.
Gooden 8 points. 50% of the night. 4 of 8 from the field.
Yeah, 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 or 4 touches that he hadn't quite been able to get his hands on the offensive board.
This represents the largest lead of the night by Kansas.
Well, they found the open man, Larry Scott. Their best 3-point shooter up against the 1-3-1 zone or 2-3, really a scramble.
Boshi dishes it to Collison. He gets blocked by Scott, and the crowd wanted a good block. But I think he got a little bit too much body as well.
All created by the penetration of the sophomore guard, Jeff Boshi. Watch how deep he gets into the paint. Brings the defense. That's a foul. Across the right arm. Collison has had some kind of year. with this KU ball club. 65% free throw shooter. Has had a tendency to pick up some fouls early going in some ball games, but that's not unexpected from the freshman that plays inside, that starts, plays a lot of minutes.
Bradford comes in, Gregory comes in, Axtell will go to the bench, as will London. Collison trying to make it a 10-point game again, and he does. So let's take a timeout. 11:41 left in our ball game. 52-42. The 8th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks on top. Part of the 12,175 on hand tonight, and it's a new arena record here at Reed Arena. And a reminder, Sports Center immediately following our game. Rich Eisen and Stuart Scott standing by. New leader of the pack. Green Bay has a new coach. Question of the night, who's the Super Bowl champ? And a breakdown, the Sonics and the Lakers thriller. A lot of signs here at Reed Arena tonight. 52-42 Kansas, as we're about to hit the 11.5-minute mark left in this one.
Well, they're excited in College Station to be on Big Monday. Melvin Watkins' program. Young players. They had a great recruiting class. Guys coming in for next year, and they are excited about basketball.
Nick Bradford called for the foul. Third one on him, and the 5th team foul on the Jayhawks.
At the line for the Aggies, Larry Scott.
John, I would ask you who your pick in the Super Bowl is, but I already know.
The home state lad.
I started to say the home state lad.
Great state of Missouri, baby. Well, we'll see if anybody can slow them down, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, they're impressive.
Everybody thought the Vikings
they got a very big one to win this Sunday before they can take that trip. But I'll tell you, they're impressive.
Ooh, that was touched there on the rim. That was probably coming off. But young Drew Gooden, who likes to get the ball around the rim anyway, knocked that one right off the front.
He is so gifted. He was up there and touching the rim.
A box and one defense. They're going to chase Jeff Beauchute, and then they'll play 4 guys in a box, and you can get good shots against this.
Now that's the thing that just A&M cannot do with them. They can't get there and play volleyball because on the 3rd attempt, Gregory scores.
Well, when you come out in a box defense and you take 1 away, now your 4 have to play their 4. And if you're guarding an area, you can attack that glass, and the way Kansas does, you better find a body.
Way off the mark. Jack on the follow will score.
That's what he does best. Tough kid.
Gooden. Wow.
What did that take? Again, 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds to just come down, put it right in the post. Quick basket.
Gooden's in double figures, as is Collison, both with 10 and 13 for Gregory. You know, we talked about tough kid with Jack. At 6'8", and to have to battle not only the numbers but the size inside, he has done a really good job tonight.
Watching the last shot by Gilchrist, what Gilchrist has done, along with King as freshman run, they have jumped so far into the bodies of the KU players trying to get a whistle. Now, you got that in high school. But when you jump that far in and try to draw contact, they're not going to give you that whistle, and that's frustrated both of them. Good screen by Beauchamp. They had Chenoweth at the rim. Gooden elected not to throw it.
Inside to Bradford. Oh, that's a nice spin move by Nick.
That showed a little bit of his quickness. Close to a triple-double the other night. 11 points, 10 assists, and then only 4 rebounds, but he can do a lot of things.
He's got 6 boards tonight or 5 boards with 6 points. Largest lead of the night, 12 points by Kansas.
Good help by Chenoweth.
Scott for 3. Jack. Gregory.
Rebound on one end. The push and the easy layup. A&M looks a little tired.
Big Monday presented by Bud Light, and glad to be in College Station, Texas. Reed Arena. Ron Franklin, John Sunvold coming to you from College Station with Big Monday. 60-46. The 8th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks all of a sudden beginning to put some space between themselves and the Texas Aggies. That's going to be Poche who will pick up that foul. 3rd one on him, and the 16th foul on Kansas. You know, if you're one of the guards, though, particularly Gilchrist, John, they just come at you in waves, and you can have some turnovers.
And they don't give you a break. I mean, right when you're going to run a play, all of a sudden there's the double team, there's a trap. And a lot of times it's when one of your teammates that you're going to throw to leaves. I mean, he's going to vacate, and all of a sudden they trap you, and there's nowhere to pass it, and you're trying to handle it by yourself. Wears you down. Melvin Watkins has done a nice job, though, trying to get fresh legs in and out and match the KU bench.
13 turnovers on the night. Letterman back to Jack. They say Tomas Ress touched it last. Well, that rebounding margin is now just getting huge. 41-25 in favor of KU.
Collison has shown all year that he is very good with his back to the basket and can score, and now the lead is 16.
Aggies call a 30-second timeout.
Melvin Watkins in the huddle talking with his club, and he knows. John said they have done a nice job of trying to stay up with substitutions, but there's some situations. I mentioned Gilchrist in the first half and the fact that Leatherman replaces him. His knee is still sore. He's not 100%. Gilchrist, for the most part, has had to play just a lion's share of this ball game, and he's got to be getting a little bit tired, as is Jack, who has done yeoman's work inside. But this is what Kansas will do, and patience is definitely a virtue with this team in blue, and they'll be patient. They'll just keep wearing at you.
Well, and there's a reason you put 40 minutes on the board. You got to play it to beat Kansas, and you have to withstand some pressure. You have to withstand some good shooting at times. 1-3-1 zone defense, and they will chase out of this.
Here's Leatherman back at the point.
If you stand and only pass the ball and not move your bodies, you play right into the hands of his own defense. You let them rest, and when Kansas can stand, get a rebound, and attack, you're in trouble.
Collison.
Wow. You know, last time, Ron, he went to his left shoulder back to the basket. That time turned to the right shoulder, shot the fadeaway. Can go either way.
Well, he's got 14, and he is 6 of 7. And that shot there was from what, 8-10 feet?
Yeah, and a fadeaway. Picked up his dribble. Trouble.
I think that's the Aggies' last timeout, isn't it? We're going to stay right here. It is their last timeout of the night with 7:28 remaining. Well, when you look at Gooden and Collison, and John, we talked about the youth when I said the good news is A&M's young, but the bad news is so is Kansas. And look at these numbers right here.
Well, two guys that have been impressive all season long. Both guys are 6'9". They both run the floor well. They both rebound well. They have very soft hands, good touches. Last time down, Collison had gone back to his left shoulder and kind of made a little floater. Defense, he faked the left shoulder, turned back, shot the fadeaway on the right shoulder. Yeah, we talk about youth. A lot of youth across this Big 12. A lot of young players.
Jack over the back is Collison, and undoubtedly he got enough of it.
Sometimes, Ron, the more you ball fake inside and stay down, you draw 3 or 4 bodies. You might as well take the first one you can.
Bernard King dishes it off to Ress. There's another air ball. Heinrich. What I like about
about Heinrich's game, Ron, is he's not afraid to push the basketball and get it to a territory where he can be effective for himself or his teammates. I mean, he will put enough pressure on the defense.
20-point ball game as A&M prepares to send 4 fresh bodies into the fray. King way outside.
Heinrich, the son of a coach, his father Jim at Sioux City West, high up in Iowa, understands the ball game, and that's nice to have when you're a coach to put the son of a coach out on the floor and run the show.
Well, let's take a break. 6:16 remaining. 20-point KU lead. And take a look. Longtime head coach of this basketball program, Shelby Metcalf, in attendance tonight. Good basketball coach,
yes,
and really a nice fella. And the greatest thing about him is, John, he loves to bass fish.
Yeah, I know you'd like that. Winning as coach in Southwest Conference basketball. You know, I remember his 79-80 team went to Sweet 16. They got beat by Louisville. And you'll remember Vernon Smith, Ren Wright, Rudy Woods was a sophomore. Louisville beat them in the Sweet 16, went on to win the national championship. Darrell Griffith and Rodney McRae and Jerry Eves and company.
I just want Shelby to know one thing. I was told today that he's building a new lake on his place. I know Shelby, and I wanted him to take me.
Well, that's not, you know, that's not fair. You fishermen, you think that's a hard game. You build your own lake, put your own fish in it, and you can catch them. That doesn't seem like it's that hard.
Come out there. We'll show you how easy it is, John. About to go under 6 minutes left in the ball game.
Well, he's got to love this new arena, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be excited for where A&M basketball is going to head.
Lester Earl back in the ball game, and he sets that screen that John was talking about. There's Gregory. I mean, he's that close. He put it in his left hand, missed, and on the third one, but he was fouled the second time on the floor.
I like the recognition from Heinrich. He came off the pick, and as the defense switched, instead of throwing it to the screener, they had rotated. He fired it cross court and found Gregory. Good recognition by the young point guard.
Heinrich being contested very closely by Gilchrist out there. Earl to Gregory. Well, that thing did everything but go on through and went down and came back out. Brown had the same thing happen. Carlton had it rattle back and forth, and it hopped out.
Wide open.
Lester Earl.
Back screen. Back still up high. Part of the early offense run by Roy Williams, always setting a lot of screens. You have to be recognize where your guy's going, and if he's setting a screen, communicate to your teammate. Something's coming.
Scott. Slocum puts it up with the left hand, couldn't get it to go. Here's Lester Earl, and he throws it away. He looked at Gregory a little too long.
When you talk about Kansas and they do scouting reports, so you always worry about the back screen. Guy goes across, come up the lane. Luke, well, didn't really set much of a back screen. Gilchrist got caught guarding Lester Earl and was watching the ball and didn't see anything going on. You get caught standing and eyeballing it. This Kansas team, the way they move without the basketball, they will probably lay it in on you.
John, I was just realizing that looking at the board here as 5 new players come in for the Jayhawks. They have 21 assists tonight.
Well, not surprising. This is a team. The impressive thing about Kansas, they lead the Big 12 in assists at about 21 a game. They lead the league in steals at almost 10 a game. Lead the league in rebound margin, and those are the things that are important. Then they lead the league in scoring. Then they're third in field goal percentage. So no reason not to understand why they're not that they're number 8 in the country.
And as you can see what they have done to A&M in the second half defensively. London reverses it too far.
.21 assists a ball game, Ron, is impressive. It's unselfish play. They've got a lot of good players on the offensive end. And, you know, you have to give up yourself a little bit of your own ability. Let your teammates do some things.
Foul on Bradford. You know, if nothing else from this ball game tonight, Gilchrist, Letterman, and also Bernard King and learn the importance of not picking up your dribble when you're playing a good defensive ball club.
Well, they won't play another one quite as aggressive as this Kansas team in that scenario, in this conference. I mean, Kansas is the best at attacking. But there are lessons learned. Playing against good teams, good players. And again, we've been in town today. A lot of people are excited about the youth. But key is there are a lot of young players in this league, a lot of young teams.
Bradford. Nick now has 8. King too hard, tipped around, and this is Gooden, who will be tied up, and possession arrow says it's going to go with Kansas. And we'll take a break. 3:45 left in our ball game. KU 70-48.
Where the change is forever.
Well, we are back, and as you look at that 12, the patch worn on the Texas A&M uniforms, and of course for the 12 youngsters who lost their lives here on campus when the stack, in preparation for the annual bonfire between Texas A&M, and the stack collapsed before they were done preparing the bonfire. 12 youngsters lost their lives. And we want to say tonight, and I don't know if he is able to watch or not, but John Comstock, who has been in the hospital the longest of all the students who was injured, he regained consciousness. They took him off the critical list this past weekend. Whether John is watching tonight or not, we send along our best to him and to his family. And I can imagine he is not out of the woods, but how much better they feel that he's off that critical list and spoke his first words this past weekend.
Well, Ron, you are a resident of this state, and talking to Mike Rickey today, longtime trainer of A&M, he said there was such a emotion throughout this state, from Longhorn fans,
outpouring from everybody,
yeah, from Red Raider fans, and hope that young man gets better.
72-48. This is Scott. Chenoweth came right down in his hands. And now it's just a matter of getting 2 minutes and 56 seconds off the clock. Kansas clearly going to come away with a victory. But this young A&M team, I'll tell you, in the first half, we had quite a battle, and also early in the second half. But then the numbers, the experience, and just the sheer talent of this Kansas team, as John said, it wore them down.
Well, lessons learned when you play very good basketball teams, and A&M is back here Saturday against Oklahoma State. Eddie Sutton's ball club, Senior Layden, Desmond Mason, Godfrey, all those guys come in here, and it's another tough battle for them. And Kansas arch rival Missouri on Saturday, and Missouri goes to Baylor, and Missouri playing exceptionally well.
Actually, Melvin gets OSU at a good time because they go on a road game, and they will have just played Texas on Wednesday. Even though that's at home, that'll be a fight. That'll be a battle up there, physical.
You think of Missouri, how they're playing. Clarence Gilbert averages over 23 a game now in conference play. Young man was averaging about 11 in non-conference. All of a sudden, green light is on, and everything's going in for him. And they're at Baylor tomorrow night.
I'll tell you what, with the way he's shooting, the way those guards overall are playing, and Soyaye as well, a little bit of a sleeper up there in Columbia.
The other sleeper team, I think, so far is Iowa State.
Yes.
Marcus Fizer, he's got his squad going well. Larry Eustachi's got guys who understand things. Tinsley, outstanding, point guard. We saw him a week ago against Missouri when he had a triple-double. When you have a guy that can run the show, handle the basketball, and control the pace, you're ahead of a lot of other teams.
2 minutes left in the ball game. 74-51, Kansas. Foul called against Deshante Johnson. Well, Drew Gooden, 10 points and 10 rebounds, his 5th double-double of the season. I'll tell you, when you look at their numbers, Gooden with 10, 14 for Collison, they're 2 freshmen, 15 by Gregory, 10 by Bradford tonight, 9 by Axtell off the bench, Chenoweth with 6. They just come at you from a lot of different angles.
When you have a number of guys who can score on any given night, to take a look at the numbers by Kenny Gregory, you think of Jeff Boschee, only 1 of 6 tonight, but that doesn't mean the next game out he doesn't go 8 for 10. They've got a number of guys who can beat you by putting points on the board, and when you have that kind of depth and that kind of scoring ability, it's hard to defend them. It's hard to just take away 1 or 2 players because they've got enough that can put points on them.
King has got 8 points tonight, but he's only 3 of 15 from the field. 1 of 10 from three-point range.
Well, nice thing about basketball, you usually don't have to wait a long time before you get to play again. You know,
right.
Other sports, you have to wait a while.
It's not like golf where you got to carry that with you for the rest of the 18 holes.
A couple days of practice, come back out, get another ball game.
Sports Center, don't forget, NFL head coaching changes. New leader of the pack. Question of the night, the Super Bowl champ, and the breakdown of the Sonics and the Lakers. A thriller there. Standing by is Rich Eisen and Stuart Scott. Gentlemen, we will be to you in 1:47 seconds.
Number 10, Jason Booker. At number 20, Brian Broussard. Replacing Charlie Brown, and Aaron Shire.
Ron, your thoughts about Reed Arena here? First time here?
I love it. This is a tremendous addition to the conference and a tremendous addition for Texas A&M. And I don't think it is elementary to say that, you know, this is really going to help as far as recruiting. And Melvin knows that.
Well, the young man you saw, Bernard King, freshman, averages about 17 a game. Tough night, shoots about 40%. Has had some big games and will have bigger games. I mean, he's a good-looking freshman.
Gilchrist steals it back. Scored it. Jeff Carey fouled him.
Basket is good. Foul number 22, Jeff Carey, his second foul.
Jamal Gilchrist, hesitation up top. Now he gets his body into him a little. The key there is the body contact. The defender's at least closer. Earlier on, Jamal was trying to jump too far into the defender. Think of this A&M team with 2 freshman guards in the backcourt, what they are learning and what they will pick up playing against good players like tonight.
I guess, you know, the term force feeding is,
oh boy,
it was really true tonight. Gilchrist has done a nice job.
And they didn't want that to happen. Clifton Cook, which was outstanding a year ago, but flunked out of school, not available for duty this season.
Johnson, that's almost a 5-second count.
Almost, but it's a dunk.
And then he turns around, gets it knocked loose, and it makes it 77-54. So we're about to hit 60 seconds remaining in this one. Gilchrist with 9 points to give you a report card on some of the youngsters.
1 minute remains.
Well, Kansas doesn't quit playing defense, do they? Nope, still all over the court.
Ress. Well, Jason Booker, the senior out of Houston, missed from point-blank range. I know the team would like to see him score a little bit. Doesn't get to play that much. Don't forget Sports Center coming up immediately following our game, and that is in about 21 seconds.
Well, we've got a lot of pushing and shoving going on. Bill Kennedy's trying to clean up some things. Before the inbounds play, he was warning some players to quit pushing and shoving. I'm sure he wants to go home.
Foul number 10, Jason Booker, his first foul. The 8th foul on the Aggies.
Jeff Carey gets a chance to get in the scorebook. Interesting about this young man, his father played at the University of Missouri. Causes a little commotion in the household, wouldn't it?
Camden, Missouri, right?
Ray Bob Carey. Like any state, Ron, they never like them when they go across the border. You know, doesn't matter where you are, where you live. When they cross borders and go to other schools, it causes a lot of fun when he comes back home.
10 seconds left. Rest for 3. Got one. His dad is here from Salerno, and I know that he's very pleased that he was able to get that last one to go down. 5 seconds down to 4. Grider loses it out of bounds, and it'll go back to Texas A&M with 2.9 seconds left.
Well, good win for Kansas. Sets up a good matchup Saturday with Missouri.
Jayhawks will go to 15-2 and 4-0 in conference play. And our final score is Kansas 78 and Texas A&M 57. Coming up right after a commercial, it's Sports Center. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. For John Sunbold and our entire ESPN crew, Ron Franklin saying so long from College Station, Texas.